fear. A person who's smart with goals will know, they will go and look at their goal. They'll know that there'll be pain and pleasure in the pursuit of it, because anybody who sets a goal, by the time they get the goal, they thought, God, I didn't know I was going to run into all this. The person who plans out all the pains and pleasures and all the opportunities and challenges that might happen and preempts them and thinks them through and come up with contingency plans, so no matter what happens, they're prepared. They're the person that reduces the fear zone, because they've set up not fantasies of a pleasure without a pain, but they know the pains of what it's going to take to pursue it. They prepared it, they've got contingencies in place, they've got their strategies in place, they act on it. So if you have a goal and you got a big enough reason for something, and you've thought out your plan, you reduce the probability of having phobias. Those things wasn't into just positive thinking, because I think that's superficial. I think you need to have balanced thinking, know both sides, have a preparation for both sides. That's a true strategy. When you do, you don't have fears, you get into action, you don't procrastinate as much, you don't let the emotions or the distractions do it. You just follow your steps and follow and execute your plans. People that have clear plans like that, they get their outcomes.
So you did touch on positive thinking. I guess with the idea of positive thinking, do you think that that is an element of success, or is it a complete sort of myth?
I think it's a myth. I think that people who think they're going to be positive all the time are delusioned. I think that I did a research project many years ago where I took the 300 best-selling books on positive thinking. I went through each of those books, one page at a time, identified the most positive words in the positive language that I could find in there, which 2,000 words I found. I put them on index cards. I then meditated and thought of a positive affirmation or quotation for each of those words. I then put that into a book and divided it into 365 days, so there were 5 to 6 positive affirmations and quotations per day. I then recited them 108 times a day, so that's 600 affirmations on average per day. I kept record of that, and I monitored that with a form which I call the day-by-day cycle forecasting form. And I monitored spiritually, mentally, career, financial, family, social, and physical areas of life, literally 4 times a day, 7 in the morning, 11, 3, and 7. And I basically, as I'm affirming these 600 quotations throughout every day for 2 years, 24 months I did this, basically monitoring what were my emotional reactions and physical reactions in each of the 7 areas of life. Was I inspired or was I despaired? Was I focused or was I scattered? Was I feeling successful or failure? Did I feel like I was wealthy or poor? Did I feel close and intimate to my spouse or maybe distant? Did I feel outgoing and extroverted or introverted? Did I feel vital and energized, or I feel poor and sick? I monitored it throughout the day, 4 times a day, every day, 6 affirmations. At the end of that 2-year period, I then totaled up all those scores on a +3 to -3 scale. I monitored it. I found out that I had ups, downs, up, down, up, down. A total amount is zeroed out. So I realized it was delusional to think I was going to be a one-sided person. Just like a magnet, it has 2 sides, and you have 2 sides. And the more you set up a fantasy that has only one side, the more you get depressed when it doesn't match your fantasy. So I'm a realistic guy that sets real goals in real time with a balanced orientation, and I accomplish more by doing it than setting up fantasies and then having nightmares. So I'm not a positive thinking guy. I'm a balanced thinking guy. But when people are down, that you need the positive thinking. But when you're up and you're fantasizing and setting up fantasies and pies in the skies, you need some critical thinking to be able to put you back into reality. So I'm a believer in both sides are needed. Like one lady came and said, I went out to my mailbox and I expected $1 million check. I did it every day for 3 months and there was never $1 million check. I suggested that she go out and try to get a job and to go and work. But she had a fantasy. So those type of things undermine the power of the mind. So when somebody's inspired by a vision and they're inspired by what they want to accomplish and they know their service and they know what their mission is, they embrace pain and pleasure in pursuit of it. Support and challenge, ease and difficulty, all complementary opposite pairs that we face in life, nice, mean, kind, cruel, hero, villain, whatever pair of opposites there are, we embrace them both and we live by our highest value. But the second we go down to lower values, we only want one side. And people that want one side end up bipolar. Bipolar is a byproduct. Bipolar condition is a byproduct of the search for one side, monopolar expectations. As long as you're looking for a one-sided world, always positive, always sweet, always positive, always kind, always nice, always sweet, that's delusional. I don't support that kind of illusion because no one ever has that. People live in a fantasy. The fastest way to be depressed is look for only one side. the fastest way to fail is to look for only one side. Embrace both sides of life and you'll be prepared for the real challenges that you face to do incredible things in the world. The people that do the most extraordinary things embrace both sides.